across. And the most important thing is when you, today, especially your generation, unlike mine, where a lot of people are either sort of print or they're TV or they're online, and a lot of guys will not cross the lines. You guys will probably be working in several media. There'll be no difference between a print journalist, an online journalist, a TV journalist, because pretty soon they'll all be built together. And so you guys need to make the decision at some point, where's the line to draw? Because you don't want to be criticizing your own colleagues or yourself, eventually.
Very good points. I think that's very true that this generation is going to be looking at writing and the different media in a very different way. Has any of this sparked any questions with any of you?
Yes, I have a question. Sorry, I'm from the Singapore Press Club, and my questions is that what is your 3 keys to your success that you can share off? And do you plan to fail? Do you have a plan B? If your blog doesn't seem to generate, do you have a plan B?
Okay, did everyone hear that? 3 keys to success, and is there a plan B when the blog fails, if it fails one day? Okay?
Who wants to start?
Just going to take me off here. For my kind of website, my kind of blog, the photography and the visuals were very important. I think for a lot of websites today, visuals are so key. You know, one of my friend's wife has a fashion blog as well, and he told me that 30% of the traffic for his site comes from Pinterest. So visuals are so important, and I think the photography I have on the site is one of the big things. 2, it's honesty. It's being honest about your writing, about your opinions on the site. 3, and I'm horrible at this, is the interaction with your readers. You know, I know that if I spent more time replying to comments, if I spent more time replying to Twitter posts, I can increase my readership a lot. And unfortunately, I just don't have that much time. But it's you know, when someone writes to you, whether it's an email or a comment or a Twitter feed or a Facebook post, they obviously they want a response. And the great thing with the blogging world is that you can, it's an instantaneous process. In the magazine world, you don't know if the writer's ever going to get your letter. With Straits Times, you don't know if anyone's ever going to read the letter to the editor. In the blogosphere, it's right there. And so you can respond immediately. I think that's very important. If I fail, again, I never started this for commercial reasons. So if I fail, then I keep putting pretty pictures for myself online.
For me personally, is I guess you have to be disciplined and committed to your blog. Personally, I have sort of a rule that I stick to, that to post every 12 hours if I can. So, but then again, you have to have the con. Yeah, when you sleep. Yeah, I spend like about, I guess, 8 hours a day on the internet if I'm not working. So I'll always have to search for new information and get it out as quickly as I can. And sometimes I have to let go of meeting with my friends and to do my blog. And I guess if they don't understand, then but most of my friends, my close friends, they do understand that my blog is a huge commitment for myself. So 12 hours a day is pretty tough, but that's a rule I stick to, I guess, just to keep my readers interested.
Okay, so my 3 rules for success are commitment, like you said, try to post as often as you can. For me, I don't really keep to that rule because I have school and I have my internship to think of, so my real life priorities are much more important than the online priorities. And my second one would be eloquence, which I am really bad at. There is only so many things you can say about a book before it all starts running together, and just like, buy this book, I like it, okay, that's fine. Yeah. And the other one, I guess, passion. It shows if you don't have passion for something. So try to get that across in your writing.
Great. And plan B?
There's no plan B, since I did that for, since it's a passion of mine, it's more a hobby. So if it fails, I'll personally be sad, but I'll continue doing it and hope that it doesn't fail.
Did that answer?
Yeah, yes, thank you. Just one more question. What are the trends do you see in the sphere of blog, and what's the future of blogs? Do you think that blogs will be recognized for policymakers around the world? Because governments around the world don't seem to favor bloggers, and even here in Singapore.
Okay, so for people on the other side of the room, the question was talking about the future of blogging and whether our panelists feel that blogs will start being taken more seriously, especially by governments around the world and policymakers, if they'll start listening more to bloggers.
Book blogging wise, I have no idea. But I guess if there's political stuff, I suppose they should start listening to, since that's the voice of the people, you know. Like, there's a reason why that blog gains so many readers and so many comments, and it's because a lot of readers, a lot of people around the world agree with what that blog is saying. So maybe you should take that into consideration.
I'm not sure about Singapore bloggers, but I do know a few Singapore bloggers that are featured in magazines, fashion magazines, like Bag a Holly Boy. And in New York, I guess they welcome bloggers. Like, there are a few well-known bloggers like Style Bubble, and they do get featured in magazines, and sometimes they even write for magazines. And I guess the industry welcomes them because it's a different point of view compared to, you know, traditional journalists. And I'm not too sure about the future of blogging in Singapore for fashion, but the fashion industry in Singapore is still growing, so I guess there's room for bloggers to expand in Singapore.
I think blogging is going to go the same way that a lot of other media have gone, and that when I look at the magazine world, when I look at newspapers or TV, there's always really good and really bad stuff. It's going to be the really amateur stuff. I looked at a magazine just a couple days ago that was put out by an NUS student and some friends that, while a valiant attempt, had no real content. It was kind of like a pure vanity puff thing. They obviously had a lot of money because they self-published it. Then there's Vanity Fair or New Yorker, which are like, you know, amazing. As bloggers become more media savvy, as bloggers become more design savvy, more literate, as you have more and more professional journalists who turn to blogging as a medium, and that's happening more and more every day, you're going to have this full spectrum also. You're going to have blogs that are respected worldwide for their intelligence, for their eloquence. You're going to have blogs that people will say this is totally irrelevant. And it'll become up to the media savvy audience to decide, is this person important in terms of the discussions I'm having with my friends, with my leaders. As far as the political sphere, I think you can, you know, there are two sides to it. One, the loudest people are often the most extreme. So the first guys who are going to jump on the blogging bandwagon in any society are going to be those with really extreme opinions. We're going to try to, you know, stir a lot of pots. I think as the media becomes more and more mainstream, you're going to get a lot more modern thinkers coming out with their articles. You know, there are some very intelligent people with blogs out there that are writing not inflammatory stuff, but actually very interesting stuff. And I think that the sheer fact that our politicians now have Facebook pages means that they recognize how important an online presence is. And so whether it's a blog, whether it's a Facebook page, whether it's a Twitter feed, whether it's some other kind of medium that in 5 years could basically, you know, change the face of digital media or social media, we can't escape from the use of digital media to make your opinion known. And I think that's something that the politicians will have to deal with.
Great answers there. Did that answer your question? Okay, any other questions? We only have about 15 minutes left, so if you have a question, now is the time. Anyone? Yes.
I'm Shani, and I have a hobby which is I like to craft, which I do my own jewelry. And I've been getting a lot of requests from my friends that I should open a blog shop. So what are your thoughts on a blog shop, and is it relevant, and is it good to get my creations out in the field?
Okay, great question. So actually opening a blog shop.
I guess the question is, do you want to do it? Yeah, then do it. If you like it, and you think you'd like to gain some income, since you obviously love crafting, then you might as well try and get some profit out of it.
And
I should feature it.
Yeah.
And I guess the important thing when starting a blog shop is you have to market your blog and or your shop. So that's the important part, and it's a long process. So don't give up.
Yeah, I think what you said is very important. You have to market it really well. I think, in addition to, so as we said before, once you start your blog shop, look at who else in your industry, in your peer group, are doing craft and jewelry blogs that you like. Go to them, comment. Email the ones that you admire. Email the jeweler that you love and say, hey, listen, I love your stuff. Here's my blog shop. Can you give me some pointers? And don't ask the person, hey, can you talk about this site to your fans? Ask them for pointers. It's a much more sort of humble and much nicer way of introducing yourself. Secondly, make sure your infrastructure for sales and delivery are spot on from day one. Don't open a blog shop where you can't process payments properly or you can't deliver properly. And that may mean you might want to use someone like Etsy or a big cartel as opposed to doing it yourself. But make sure that that infrastructure is there, because you might be thinking today that, oh, I'm only going to have some friends of mine from Singapore who want to buy this. If you get an email tomorrow from like some fashion buyer in New York who says, I want to buy 20 pieces, you need to be prepared for that.
Yeah, good point there. You never know how big it's going to go, right? You can think and dream really big, and you never know, it could just happen. Are you familiar with Etsy, the site that he mentioned? She has the account, but she hasn't built it. All right, homework for you. Excellent, well done. Any other questions? Yes.
Good afternoon. My name is Cheryl. I would like to ask, especially to how do you build a team for an online publication, especially when you're starting out? How do you attract people to come to your team? Thank you.
Very good question. Here you go on.
I think if you're just starting out, it can be tough. I think if you're starting out, it has to be friends and family. It has to be people that you know from your social circle who you can say, hey, listen, or professional circle, say, listen, I want to do this. You want to help out. I did it very differently. I ran the site for 6 years on my own, and took a 1-year break. And after that, then decided that I didn't want to do it entirely by myself, and put out a Twitter post, or Twitter feed, whatever you call it, a tweet saying that I'm looking for people looking for help. And because I had the site running for so long, because people knew what it stood for, and they knew what kind of writing I was looking for, knew what kinds of things I covered, I was very lucky that I got a lot of response. So I was able to find an amazing editor who just had her first child, so she's stuck at home, so she's working full-time as an editor. And I have 13 writers from around the world who are all writing for free because they really loved the site. So I was very lucky in that way. I think you have the two options. You can either start a site, get it going, build up a reputation, and then when you want to transition from being a single author site to having contributors, it might be much easier. So people really know what your site's about, people know your style, people know what your editorial direction is.
And I think what you pointed out earlier about contacting people that are in your sphere, in your same topic area, because maybe you ask them if they would be interested in having you post for their site, and maybe they will be interested in returning the favor and doing posts for your site as well. So you can think about collaborating. I was really playing devil's advocate earlier when I said, why would you contact them? They're your competition. Because really in the blogging world, there's a lot of camaraderie. There's a lot of working together and collaborating and building and growing together. So don't be afraid to reach out to other people in your industry, in your area, right? And you can help each other out, yeah? Other questions? Oh, in the back. Okay, let me run over there in these high heels.
Sorry.
No, I'm happy to.
Hi, I'm Emilio. My question is, you know how each of your blogs are very topic specific? Like one is doing on books, the one on fashion, the other on food. Must our blogs also be similar, or can it just be like anything that we see? So like one post can be about films, another post can be about books, another post can be about food, that kind of thing.
So kind of like a personal journal in a way. I mean, can you build a blog out of just your daily experience and thoughts for that day?
Something like that.
Something like that. So do you have to have a focused topic area like you three do, or can it be a little more broad?
Of course, again, it's a question of whether you want to create this blog for a specific audience, or because you want to be discovered, or you're just doing it because you love writing. If you do it because you love writing, write about whatever you want to. If you're doing it because you want to be discovered and become the next hot young celebrity in town, then you can still write about anything you want as long as you have a great personality, if you're willing to put yourself out there, and you have a great opinion, or even a bizarre opinion on things. I mean, I turned to my list at the Shashua sort of method, and she's a great example of a blogger who writes about pretty much anything and nothing, and has made herself a celebrity by being her, or being the idea of her that she projects on the web.
Following up on that question, if I may, because we haven't touched on this just yet, a lot of blogs are now turning into vlogs, right? Video blogs, especially in this area, I think, which is talking about everything and nothing and built on a big personality. A lot of people now are moving to video. You mentioned already the importance of really powerful visuals and images and photography, but what about this movement towards video? Have any of you gone into this? Do you think it's important? What do you see happening with blogs and video?
I think it's a great way compared to blogging, and it's sort of like talking to them and they can see you. And I guess it's a different way of conversing of thoughts. It's a great way, but I don't think I'll ever do that because I'm just embarrassed.
As well as it's a great vehicle, because if you want to be something more than a blogger, let's say you want to be a TV star, or you want to be a producer or a director, it's a great way to put yourself out there. I think video blogs are fascinating. They can be really beautiful. They can be really funny. And I think depending on the level of the video you're putting out there, if it's really just you talking to your audience, that's one thing. I was talking to Heather yesterday. I said that I would never do that, but one video blog series I loved was there's a French fashion blogger named Garance Dor, who was sponsored by a pretty major company, and they basically gave her a full film crew and followed her around Paris Fashion Week, and they cut and edited beautiful videos of her sort of parties and her visiting the shows. And at that level, it's like watching a mini TV show. I think that kind of video blogging is amazing, because you don't need to watch, TV anymore. You can just look at these bloggers and see the kind of work they're doing.
Great, thank you. Any last questions? It looks like we have 5 minutes left. Yes.
Hi, I'm Serene. Okay, I just want to ask you, right now we have this content makers, and we also have content curators, which is like Tumblr and Pinterest, right? So these are people who take content from sites and then they share it on their own either blogs or their Tumblrs and Pinterest. So for you consider yourself a content maker or a content curator, and if you are a content curator, because everyone's posting the same stuff all the time, right? I mean, like example, if there's something popular and very current, so all the content curators will be posting about this particular topic. And so if you are a content curator, how would you make yourself different? And how would you want to stand out, or I'm not sure if you get what I mean. Yeah, sorry about it.
Okay, so just to clarify, do you consider yourself a curator or a creator?
This is when I'm confused as well. So
Okay. So the difference between creating your own content and building a brand around creating content, or sharing content.
Content curating, and it's more like sharing and adding on sort of like your own.
Adding your own twist, own opinion. In a way, a little bit what we're doing with the book review site, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so what's the question?
If you're a content curator, how would you make yourself stand out there? Since
How do you stand out from
yeah.
others? How do you create your brand?
What makes you different than other book reviewers?
Okay, I guess for reviewers, in one case, is that we're both content creators and content makers. We have to seize on the most recent trend, and we put our own spin, our own personalities into that. you can have a book that's going around, like for example, 50 Shades of Grey, I guess. Yeah, that's an example of content. Okay. One example of content curation would be you post a description of what the book is like, and you add your own comments. So, but in that case, when you add your own comments, you can turn it into a review. In that case, you're the content maker. So for me personally, the content curation part would come in on Twitter itself and on Facebook. So that would be where most of the recent news would come out, right? I mean, like, what, Singapore is building a satellite, right?
You're asking me?
That news, okay? So all the recent news would come on Twitter first, even before the mainstream media. So that's where the curation part comes. So when that can extend into your own blog, where you make a comment about what your own thoughts are. So you, in that sense, it kind of overlaps, right? So content creation, I guess, would be more of the reviews part, when you go more in depth into it, rather than just giving a short comment. So I guess in that case, it's more, the difference would be depth, content, and yeah, I guess that.
For me personally, it's just adding my own opinions. And I do have readers that, they email me and say that, I really like what you said about that. And I guess that's what made me stand out from other blogs, your own opinion. Because everyone has a different opinion, and your readers may like what you say and not what other people say. So I guess that's the main point for me.
Yeah, I mean, I think if you're the question of if everyone's writing on the same thing, how do you stand out? It comes down to just your spin. Is your take on a subject more interesting, more novel? Do the readers who read your site regularly trust your opinion more than someone else's, or like the way you describe something? You might find that this specific, let's say that my blog was true, let's say this specific person had the best cafe reviews in Singapore. She's always the first one to talk about the cool coffee shops in town. You might trust her more than someone else who writes about other things or says, okay, well, this week I'm going to do cool cafe roundup because everyone's talking about it. And I think it's, again, if it's original content, it's about your own spin. That said, when you mentioned, when I first heard your question, I thought about aggregators. And there are a lot of websites out there that are basically aggregators. And the big difference is that all of us create original content. And, we publish on my site a new post every day for 5 days a week, original content. Whereas there are a lot of sites out there like Pop Sugar or Grid Skipper and different industries that basically just aggregate from other websites around the world and basically curate published articles, which are actually really good also. And that's a matter of just basically deciding that it's a matter of curating it so well that you'll create a niche audience. And I go to a lot of aggregator sites because I like the curation of those editors.
That's a great point, and good points from all of you. Just be you. Just be you. This is your opportunity, right? Let your personality shine. That is what's going to attract an audience of people who are just like you and love you for who you are. So don't be afraid. Don't think you have to copy what everyone else is doing and be something that's already out there. Just be yourself. I think that we have run out of time, but if I'm allowed to just overstep for a couple minutes, because we have so many people who are just about to start their blogs, looking way back to when you were getting started, what is the one piece of advice you would like to give this audience as they start this journey with blogging?
Network. Yeah. Basically network and create your own readership and find more friends who can promote your blog. Yeah.
Yes, if it's your passion, then just follow it and don't give up. And just, if you want it to become a career or something like you want to do for your entire life, just dream big and just follow it through and be ready to commit to your dream.
Proofread. Don't just post after typing something out. Read it at least once through, just to make sure that you've written something that's articulate and hopefully spell check.
All right. Well, thank you very much, panelists. Let's give them a